Not exactly the big bazooka we've become accustomed to, but is this the big intervention we were all waiting for?
Yeah, well, they've been keeping that big bazooka locked away because they don't want to exacerbate the debt loads, especially at the local government level. So this is interesting because a couple of weeks ago, Bloomberg News did have a scoop that this was a likely outcome, that we would likely see Beijing, and they've just had a two-day meeting of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, and then you had a flurry of these announcements coming out on policy, on the economy, essentially raising the deficit ratio to GDP to about around 3.8%. China likes to keep it around 3%, and that's what the target was at the National People's Congress back in March. But the economy is sputtering, to say the least. The stock market is sputtering, obviously. The property sector is a big drag. Consumer confidence is a drag. Foreign investment confidence is a drag. So, again, it doesn't necessarily address those two big drags, and I'm talking about property. There might be other stimulus, maybe, I don't know, down the pike for that. But also, consumer spending hasn't, well, it might have bottomed out, but it hasn't been given the jolt. And this won't necessarily do that, but it will help, obviously, put a floor on and give some stimulus to some infrastructure projects, which this kind of borrowing, this sovereign debt, as well as raising that cap of the budget deficit, will allow. Now, it's interesting that they're going to be basically issuing sovereign debt. It shows that the central government will take on a bigger burden. When these marching orders for growth come out, usually in years past, the onus goes on to the local government, the provincial levels. But we know after 3 years of very punishing COVID prevention and the testing and just simply, property sector, land sales have dried up. The local government's coffers are absolutely strained. So the onus will go back onto the central government to issue about 1 trillion yuan in sovereign debt.